Hi, everyone. It's the book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris. And we are here with our Nonfiction November video. We love Nonfiction November. We love nonfiction and November. So, of course, we would love both of them together.
Yeah, we read a lot of nonfiction all year long, but this is a good excuse to talk to you specifically about it. But I think we're going to start with our Friday reads, right?
Yes. Yeah, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm currently reading The Bone Thief by Vanessa Lilly. She wrote Blood Sisters, which we talked about, it was probably a couple of years ago now. We went to an event actually for the author Luann Rice, and Vanessa Lilly was in conversation with Luann. And we didn't know about Blood Sisters. We didn't know about Vanessa Lilly. We both read the book and fell in love with her and with the book.
Yeah. And
with her character, Sid, who is an archaeologist. And in Blood Sisters, she was actually in Oklahoma solving a murder mystery / disappearance that was very close to home. It involved family and friends. In The Bone Thief, she's actually in Rhode Island, and there is a lot of indigenous history in Rhode Island. So it's really interesting. It's a great story about a woman who is, again, Sid, the archaeologist. It's the same character, but they discover some bones at a summer camp. And there's so much history in the area that it's really one of those novels you'll find yourself putting down and looking up stuff, which I love.
Yeah.
Because we're in New England, and so it's history. But we're both transplants.
Right.
And Vanessa Lilly's a transplant. She grew up in Oklahoma. I just was at an event with her this week, and I'll be talking about that on episode 247. But she mentions that she was very familiar with Oklahoma history, but not with the history in Rhode Island. So that was kind of the impetus behind writing this novel and placing it where she did.
That's so cool. Yeah, and so she lives in Rhode Island now.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she's a transplant from Oklahoma, lives in Rhode Island. She gives out swag, including this really fun bookmark.
Nice.
And then also, she really is trying to educate people. So she had this piece of information also where you're starting to learn some of the language. Nice. Where the indigenous people in Rhode Island are Narragansett, where Vanessa's from in Oklahoma. She's part of the Cherokee Nation. And so I love that she gives you some basic language to understand.
Very cool.
Really good. And it just came out at the end of October.
Nice. And she's super active on Instagram, too. So we'll put a link to her Instagram down below, too, if you want to follow her there.
And is on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading an oldie. I'm not sure if I can call it a goodie at this point, but it came out in 1971, Hell House by Richard Matheson. As you can see, he's the one who wrote I Am Legend, which was turned into a Will Smith movie probably, 10 years ago now? I'm not really sure. So Hell House is, as Stephen King blurbed it, and I've talked about Stephen King's blurbs. I love his books. I don't really trust in his blurbs, but he wrote here, the scariest haunted house novel ever written.
It's saying a lot.
Yes, I'm on page 96. I have my bookmark from Books Are Magic. That's not where I purchased this one, but this is the nearest bookmark that was on my reading shelf. So I thought this is quite appropriate.
I was going to say.
Yeah, right? It was meant to be. So I was reading this book yesterday, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. It's from, 1971. It's very sexist, misogynist, lots of women body parts being discussed. And then there's also the issue of, those little quirks that writers have that sometimes really annoy you as a reader. I don't have like standard ones. I used to not like the word chuckle, and Dan Brown uses the word chuckle a lot, like his bad guys chuckled, or the guy who's running for his life chuckled. I'm just like, oh my gosh, if he uses the word chuckle one more time, I'm DNFing. In the case of Richard Matheson here, apparently when women experience cold water or they come out of the shower and it's cold, they hiss. She hissed. The water was cold. I'm like, oh my God, one more hiss.
That's so weird.
Isn't that weird?
That's
I
really
know.
weird.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something about their nipples.
Oh, well, their nipples are hard, but they're also hissing. So there is that. But I kept going. I thought I'll give it a couple more pages. And then I got to a scene that was so cool that involved ecoplasm. You know, the stuff that is ghost material.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
More to come on that, because
Yeah.
I watched this really neat video with an archivist. Oh gosh, I don't remember. Somewhere in New England, talking about some spiritualist things from the 19th century, and she was looking at photographs. And one of the articles that she referenced, I got my hands on, is talking about ecoplasm and spiritualists and then photography in the 19th century. So I will give this one some more chances. Right now, it is very much feeling like Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House, but written by a very horny 12-year-old who is, thinking orgies and cannibalism and drugs and sex, and it is something exciting to write about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm being mean. I did make sure I looked. Richard's dead, so he won't see this video unless he is wandering around still.
Well, his ecoplasm might be right over there. What do you know?
You never know. It could be embedded in this
Exactly.
book. Richard, I did enjoy I Am Legend. So more to come on this. I mean, I'm joking in part, but I am trying to keep in mind when it was written and that it is such a classic haunted house story. And we are in our year of reading ghost stories. So I thought, reading one of these classics that a lot of writers refer back to, Stephen King, Grady Hendrix, Riley Sagar. I think he's also recommended it. So,
yeah.
Hell House. Now on to nonfiction.
Nonfiction. Should I start?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. This is one, Typhoid Mary, Anthony Bourdain. Love the cover. Love the size of it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a little square. We just picked this up in Cape Cod way up in P-Town, the Provincetown bookshop, and the cover caught our eye. Of course, I'm saying our because my partner, James, the gentleman caller, and I both were interested in reading this, and he started reading it right away after we bought it. He's finished it. It's now my turn. And it is about Typhoid Mary and the outbreak that occurred in Long Island. And Anthony Bourdain, I'm embarrassed to say, I have never read anything by him. I started Kitchen Confidential after he died, and I was listening to it on audio, and then I think it got sucked away by the library, and I never went back to it. That one's been on my TBR forever. But this is a really interesting story about a cook. That's part of how she was infecting people, because she was in the kitchen cooking everyone's food. And from what I understand is they thought that it was her, and then she went missing. And so part of what this book is about is the search for her. I haven't read it, but that's what I believe it's about. I swore Jim to secrecy to not ruin anything for me. But he said that it was really well written, which is what I've always heard about Anthony Bourdain. I'm not sure that, part of Kitchen Confidential is it's about his years up in Provincetown, where he was a new young cook and using a lot of drugs and living, I think, maybe even out of his car. So I have a feeling that this book is more highlights his writing, which I know he is a good storyteller. So I'm looking forward to reading it. Typhoid Mary by Anthony Bourdain. And it came out in 2001. It's been around for a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, a random question, but was Mary Irish?
Oh, likely.
Because I'm just asking because I think of Mrs. O'Leary in Chicago, who got blamed for starting the Great Chicago Fire, and how there was such anti-Irish sentiments back then. And then, of course, women have always been scapegoated.
I mean, I would say it's likely because of the time period and that she was working in the kitchen, but I will report back. I don't know the answer.
Fine.
Good question.
I have a little small book too. This is one that I picked up when I was at Parnassus Books, and it is The Shop Dogs of Parnassus. It's written by Anne Patchett, of course. Illustrations by Alethea Hall, introduction by Kate DiCamillo, and afterword by Mary Laura Philpott.
Oh my God, that is a trifecta right
In
there.
this teeny tiny little book. Look how small that is. Of course, Anne signed it. I was in Parnassus this spring, I think. No, I was there in August. And they have a whole table there of all her books, and they're all autographed. And I wanted to buy something. I did get some gifties, but this is one I got for myself because I love a good dog story, and I thought it was sweet. And they did have a dog walking around the day that I was there. So more to come on that. And I love that we both started with short, small books. I mean, this one is it's like a gift book size, right? But Nonfiction November doesn't have to be big and scary.
Right, or a tome.
Right, and I know that's one thing that kind of scares people, frightens them away from nonfiction, is that they think it's going to be really hard or big tome, like Emily just said. But, don't discount the small, tiny books. That could be feel-good books or, talking about a hardcore topic.
Now, so Kate DiCamillo is a children's book writer.
Yes.
And then Mary Laura Philpott, I read her book of essays and loved it. I cannot think of what it's called right now. I wonder if they have it in the bio about her.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to look.
There's the illustrator.
Yeah, so there's one of the first dogs illustration.
Sweet. Yeah.
And really, really cute. So I look forward to it. This is the dog, Sparky. Sparky is very famous. And there's a portrait of Sparky in the bathroom at Parnassus, and I took a photo of myself with it. And of course, practically everybody knew where I was.
Exactly.
Like,
Sparky's
I
as
am.
famous as Anne.
Yeah.
And a little fun fact, Anne just announced her next novel, which is called The Whistler, which I believe is coming out next June, and she showed the cover recently. So get on social media. Actually, I'll just put a link down below. No, The Whistler, the cover is a horse, and the horse is named Whistler, but she said it is not about a horse.
Okay. I know The Whistler, I think of horror, because of don't whistle after dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I guess the horse plays a very small but yet important part in the novel, which is why they chose to put the horse on the cover.
All right.
Well, speaking of horses, this is about a hare. Raising Hare, a memoir by Chloe Dalton. I have spoken about this book in the past. I was really excited when we first got it at Book Cougars headquarters, but have yet to read it. It is about a woman who is living alone during the pandemic and comes across a leveret, which is a baby hare, and it's left alone, and it's winter, and she wants to help it survive, but she's told by a friend or a veterinarian that most leverets, if taken in and adopted, do not survive. So she tries to figure out a way she can do it so that she doesn't end this leveret's life, but on the other hand, it's not going to survive the way she finds it. I don't know much about it. I know that it's getting rave reviews. It's been nominated for some awards, and I've been told the writing is fantastic. I believe it's a debut. So that's really all I know about it. It has a little fun map inside of her house and where she found the leveret and their life together, I think. Important spots in their life together. Yeah, that's all I know. Have any of you read it? Because I'm hearing really good things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have another small one. And I bought it because it's cute. And it's a little cute little hardcover. A Virginia Woolf essay, I believe. How should one read a book? I'd never heard of it before. And I picked this up at the New York Public Library, the big library building on Fifth Avenue. And they'll stamp your book if you'd like it to be stamped. Yeah, so I do plan on reading this month. I imagine it's going to be Virginia talking about reading books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another little short one. I thought I'm going to be gentle with myself. I am reading a nonfiction book. I'm reading Citizen Reporters, which is a joint biography of S.S. McClure and Ida Tarbell, which again I forgot. I talked about it last week as one I was going to be starting. So I don't know what that is. It's waiting for me on my desk at home. But Virginia Woolf is going to be happening this month.
Right on. This is another memoir, Foreign Fruit, A Personal History of the Orange by Katie Go. I read A History of the Orange by John McPhee years ago. I'll put a link to that down below. But this is different. This is about Katie, who is living in Ireland. She is mixed race, Chinese and Irish, and she feels very out of place, being that Ireland is 99% white. And so she's also kind of weaving in the fact that oranges don't belong in Ireland either, and then goes on to describe the life of the orange and weaves herself into that, which I think is so fascinating. It's blurbed by Catherine May, who I love, who's the author of Wintering, a sharp, sweet memoir of change, identity, and hybridity. I loved it. And I'm going to just read you, like, I started the first paragraph and I was so shocked. It's actually in the prologue. The morning after a white man murdered 6 Asian women, I ate 5 oranges. They were not dainty tangerines or pretty satsumas or festive clementines. These were unwieldy, bulging oranges, pockmarked and rind-covered fistfuls of flesh. I ate them all until my body ached. Yeah, I mean, her writing, I was, looking through my stacks of nonfiction books to choose what to bring today. And I started reading and I was through the prologue and going on and thought, okay, you got to get to work. But her writing drew me in right away when I started it.
Nice. Well, my next one that I do hope to read this month it's been on my TBR for a very long time. It is A Thread Across the Ocean by John Steele Gordon. It is about the laying down of the transatlantic cable between America and Europe. Is it America and Europe? Yeah. I was just thinking, was it between England and Europe? But no, between the old world and the new. In 1866, shortly after the Civil War. And this book was recommended to me by a guy named Grandpa Jack. He is a family member of Laura's, my wife, a distantly related guy, Grandpa Jack, who has since passed away. But we used to go on vacation every year to the Outer Banks, and Grandpa Jack came a couple years, and we were just the two of us sitting on the beach one day, and he would always wear his black socks with his shorts. He never took them off. And we were talking about books, and I would always read something nautical was my thing. I would take nautical related books to read that week, sitting on the beach by the Atlantic, and love that. So he started telling me about this book, and I bought it right away. And it has been on my shelves ever since. And I thought, this is the year I want to read it, in part because I read earlier this year another book I would love to recommend, 80 Days by Matthew Goodman, which is about Nellie Bly's and Elizabeth Biswell's race around the world. And he mentions how the telegraph, the steamship, the railroad, like all of these things really kind of collapsed time and space for people, that you could communicate, instantly. Obviously, you'd have to send the telegram. Somebody would have to type it out and then find you, or you'd have to go and get it. So it's not like instant messaging or anything like that. But it was like pretty instant communication versus having to wait 3 weeks for the ship mail to arrive. So I thought, reading Matthew's book brought to mind this book, and so I pulled it off the shelf as one to read this month. And it's not huge, and I'm really looking forward to it. So more to come on that.
Well, I couldn't get through nonfiction November recommendations without a cookbook. This one is called Dirt Candy: flavor-forward food from the upstart New York City vegetarian restaurant of the same name, Dirt Candy. This came to me via my buddy over here. We're reading Grady Hendrix' book, How to Sell a Haunted House, for our fourth quarter read-along in our year of reading ghost stories. Grady Hendrix is the husband of, I don't think I said her name, Amanda Cohen, who is the author of this cookbook, the chef and owner of Dirt Candy. So she is Grady Hendrix's wife. And then Ryan Dunleavy is a chef that works with her and that helped her with this cookbook. And there it says with Grady Hendrix in not so bright letters, you can see there. And Chris was doing, I think you were doing research about Grady Hendrix.
I was doing that, and it mentioned that he was married to her, and I was like, Dirt Candy, like, what is Dirt Candy? Because I thought that's a really intriguing name, isn't it? And so then I discovered this amazing cookbook.
Yeah, because she found a funny cartoon about her having an argument with a little creature on her shoulder. And then it turns out that's from this cookbook, which just so happens to be graphic in nature. It's all, well, that's not a good example. That's actually what the recipes look like. Yeah. It's a graphic cookbook. Never seen anything like this. It's the first of its kind. It's been printed many times over. Dirt Candy happens to be near where Aunt Ellen lives in New York City. So she went to the restaurant and actually got a signed copy for me that they sell in the store there. And I'm really enjoying it. And it really is just about vegetables because that's what the restaurant features. And the name Dirt Candy comes from the idea of taking vegetables out of the earth. And they're so sweet and yummy and delicious.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a gift for a cook in your life who does enjoy cooking with vegetables, I would recommend this. I'm enjoying it more for the storytelling that's told through the illustrations and gives you backstory about how she opened the restaurant and where she was at in her life and career when she was trying to do that and why she thought she could do it, etc. So really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fun.
It was adorable. The bit of the comic that I saw was, this little like devil on her shoulder trying to, decide on something. And finally she's just tired of it and she pops it in her mouth and eats it. And she's like, the next thing was like, oh my God, am I still a vegetarian?
Yeah, and that's these panels right here is what Chris is talking about. So it's like the devil and the angel. And she's having an argument with herself about whether she should appear on one of those food cooking shows at the same time as she's trying to open a restaurant. And here's where she eats it. Gulp. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. I love like some of these scenes like this where they've got all their kitchen gear and yeah, highly recommend.
Very cool. Well, and then we're going to end with two books that we have read. I've read this one, How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. This is a fantastic like history, memoir, travelogue, look into Americans and their attitudes of how history is presented at different historical homes in mainly the South. Clint Smith, if you're not aware of him, he's a fantastic writer. He's an African-American man. He was not surprised going to these places, but there's been a movement in recent decades to incorporate more of the Black experience at some of these homes of famous white men like Monticello, Jefferson's home, and just how resistant whites are to this. And this gets to another article that I just read today. Let me just pull this up. I just read this article about a book that came out in 2022 by historian Donald Yacovone. And he looked into how white supremacy became a part of the nation's fabric by studying textbooks, history textbooks. And the book is Teaching White Supremacy, America's Democratic Ordeal, and the Forging of Our National Identity. And so he talks about how deeply embedded this the white supremacy is within the textbooks, and how we've, not his words, but how we've all been like polluted by this. It's become part of the national identity, the soul of the nation in a lot of ways. And so Clint Smith is investigating that, and loved it. I really did. I mean, it's one of those books I think I might listen to the audio.
I was just going to say that. That's my plan. Yeah, because that's been on my TBR for a long time. This is one that we've both read. It's called The Doctor's Blackwell by Janice P. Nomura. And we read this during our year of reading nonfiction. And it is about the sisters Blackwell, who were the first 2 women in med school, right? Yeah, in the Boston area. One of the sisters was a little bit difficult. When we got a chance, we got a chance to talk to Janice about this book. We'll put a link to the episode that she was in down below if you want to listen to our conversation. And she said there's, it goes both ways. Some people really enjoyed that sister and her, how straightforward she was and what she thought, and others thought she was a difficult person. But there's probably other things you'd like to say about this.
I really love this joint biography, and because it's one of those that gives you, a look into their lives and what they accomplished and their relationship together, but also what was going on in the world. One of the sisters was really into, oh gosh, I can't think of the word right now. It's not cleanliness, but...
Well, sanitary methods.
Sanitation.
I mean, this was before they knew so many things.
Right.
Like wearing gloves, for example. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Washing your hands, actually, right?
And just, disease. You think about a big city like New York City and there's no proper sanitation.
Right. Yeah.
What that does to people's overall health. So really love that one. And every time I think about reading nonfiction or biography, I think about this book because I enjoyed it so much. So I'm always on the hunt for another one that's similar. Yeah,
very readable and accessible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's currently writing a book about Rachel Carson. So cannot wait for that to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nonfiction November, we would love to hear some of your favorite nonfiction books or what you're planning on reading this month.
Yes. Or this weekend. We would like to know that too.
Yeah. All right, everybody, here are our books again. And until next time, we wish you lots of happy reading.
Goy.